Hello, welcome back to Too Many Books. My name is Sean, and today we have a Kings Langley unboxing. My third unboxing from them, because it's their third title. This, my friends, is The Woman in White. First off, not a huge fan of the packaging job. I mean, it's sufficient, hopefully. Hopefully the book has survived, but it's lacking. It's just kind of bumping around in there. But thankfully, it does have some bubble wrap on all sides, so hopefully the novel made it out okay. Let's find out. So here we have The Woman in White. The corners don't appear too bad. This one's a little bumped. A little bit of a bumped corner there on the slipcase. The other corners appear to be good. Don't know if that was due to the packaging in transit. Who knows? Now, this is the same size, or it should be the same size, as The Moonstone, which was their second title that they published. The corners of the book themselves seem fine, so it looks like it was just the slipcase. The slipcase protected the corners of the novel. Of course, we have our black and white illustration right on the cover by Oleg. There we go. Full, way too zoomed in on that. I apologize. The Woman in White from 1860. At least it was collected in 1860. I know it was published kind of periodically, serialized through all the year round, the Charles Dickens literary magazine. There we have an illustration of Wilkie Collins himself, illustrated by Oleg Pakhomov. I'm going to butcher his name. Pakhomov also did the illustrations in the Moonstone. So there are 20 full-color illustrations and then 12 black and white chapter headers. This, one of the earliest mystery novels, or widely regarded as one of the first mystery novels. Its title I've never actually read yet. I've read The Moonstone way back in my schooling days, but I haven't read The Woman in White. I've read The Woman in Black, but that's a completely different novel. That's a ghost story. The story begins by Walter Hartwright of Clements Inn, teacher of drawing. I thought this started with I thought this had begun with a very famous opening, but I guess I'm mistaken, because that isn't a very famous opening. It's not jumping off to me. But anyways, it is the story of good old Walter, who stumbles upon a woman in distress, the titular Woman in White, and thus finds himself entangled in a greater mystery, tale of two sisters, a tale of deceit and lies. And I gotta say, I'm liking the full color art. I mean, they are printed on their own little plates, so it's not like you're getting any bleed through on the text. Is there another piece there, or am I just imagining it? I am imagining it. But yeah, I mean, I figure I've never read this novel yet. What better way than with a what's essentially an Australian Folio Society edition? And we got a little page crinkle there. You see the corner? Let me raise it up there. Yeah, I'm not sure what happened to the pages in the center there, but the bottom is a little bent. Yeah, that's disappointing. It's pre-dog-eared. So yeah, Kings Langley, good old Australian Kings Langley Press. I feel like I missed some of the black and white illustrations. I'm trying to flip through to catch them all, but anyways, Kings Langley Press, the easiest comparison would be to Folio Society. Now, Folio is a very big company. Folio Society, they publish tons of titles every single quarter. Every single season is more accurate, because they refer to it as, their summer collection, their winter collection. Every single quarter. Kings Langley, much smaller press. I don't know how many people work for Kings Langley, but, this is only their third title. The first was The Wheels of Chance by H.G. Wells. Second was The Moonstone. The third being... there was one of the black and white ones. The third, of course, being The Woman in White. But, I mean, it's very... like a similar aesthetic. Nice little kind of cloth-bound, buckram binding, a plain slipcase, although sometimes Folio will illustrate their slipcases. Sometimes they get a little wild. But I mean, it's a Smythsonian binding. It feels like a Folio Society volume, which is kind of funny because around the same time they had announced that they were doing the Moonstone, Folio Society was like, "Hey, we're going to do our own Moonstone," and did a limited edition. And admittedly, their limited edition was probably nicer than the Kings Langley Moonstone. I mean, I know it was like quarter bound in leather. I know it had signatures from whoever had done the introduction. But that's fine. This is more in line with a standard edition Folio Society title. And, you know, if you're pitting Folio up against the little guy, I'm going to support the little guy. So Kings Langley got my $1 for that. But anyways, I don't know if, I'm sure Folio Society has done The Woman in White, but I don't know if it's currently in print if they do have an edition like that. So I think for this one, I probably should double check this, you know, before recording this video, but I think for this one, this is the edition to go with if you want a nicer edition of the title. And it's, you know, being sold in Australian dollars. So if you're in the US, it saves you a little bit of money. I mean, you do have to pay for shipping, obviously. I think this, weirdly enough, I think this shipped from the UK. So they must have a bigger distributor over there. But all in all, very affordable title. I think it's 170 Australian dollars. So I think that's what, like maybe $100 US. I could be mistaken. The exchange rate is pretty crazy. I have no idea why that would possibly be. But yeah, no, the dollars all across the world are in all sorts of crazy flux right now because a lot of poking the bear, adding tariffs, removing tariffs, adding these, removing these, bombing this nation, bombing that nation. The whole world's on the edge of World War III, you know. But hey, at least you can get a cheaper fancy book during said time. But anyways, this is regarded as one of the world's earliest mystery novels. Almost similar to how the Moonstone is regarded as the world's first detective novel. It was originally serialized from November of 1959 to August of 1859 to 1860 in All the Year Round, which is Charles Dickens' magazine. It was originally first published by Sampson Low and Son & Co. Sampson Low, Son & Co. is a fun name. As a 3-volume edition in August of 1860. He revised the text for a second edition, 1861, correcting various technical errors to improve the narrative's consistency. This edition follows the revised text. Very, very nice. Book interior by Valery Trubnikov. The other narrator's portraits and frontispiece created by Oleg Pakhomov, especially for this edition. It was printed in Slovakia, bound in Germany, buckram blocked with a design based from Pakhomov. But yeah, it's a very nice edition, and it's an affordable edition. One other thing, which I have to give praise to, there's going to be all sorts of comparisons I've made already to Folio Society. One thing that differs them from Folio Society is that they don't add on some crazy exchange fee, which is cool. You know, it's 170 Australian dollars, but it's exchange is whatever that exchange is. Folio Society in recent years has gone away from letting you pay in foreign currencies and instead offered their own exchange rate. So if you live in the U.S., you're going to pay whatever the U.S. price is. And the U.S. price is not always, in fact, it's usually not a one-for-one exchange rate. So if you're like, oh, it's however many pounds should equal 100 US dollars, on their site, however many pounds will actually equal like 140 US dollars. And you're like, oh, okay. And there's no consistency on it whatsoever. Like there were 2 titles. There was like a Neil Gaiman title and a Haruki Murakami title, maybe, where they were both the same price in British pounds. But when you translated it to their U.S. price on the website, one of them was like $30 more than the other. And you're like, I don't understand that. So it sucks to have to pay like a crazy exchange fee when it's entirely internalized within Folio Society. You don't have to worry about that with Kings Langley. So this is the 3rd title by Kings Langley. The 3rd one I have been impressed with. Like I said, got a bump corner there and some weird pre-dog-eared pages in the center. Probably from when it was tipped in. I don't know. when that interior illustration was tipped in. But anyways, I still like the volume. It's still a very hefty volume. Be very interesting to dive in and give The Woman in White a first read through in this Kings Langley edition. They already have their 4th edition being planned. Oh, the description was like a Scottish man, or it was like a man on a journey across Scotland runs into a raft of strange characters, which I don't know what that is. I didn't really do much research on that. It might be very apparent what that is, but I didn't do said research on that. I'll be pleasantly surprised when it is announced. I will certainly pick up a copy for myself. But anyways, copies of The Woman in White by Wilkie Collins are still available through Kings Langley Press. Link in the description below if you want to pick up a copy for yourself. Be sure to subscribe to the channel here. I do at least one book review a week, as well as plenty of unboxing videos between here and there. And as long as Kings Langley is still putting like one book out at a time, like they have been doing, I look forward to continuing to support them for as long as I can. I would love to, I support Folio Society when I can as well, but having, a crazy exchange rate and like 10 titles drop at once, most of which don't interest me, it's kind of harder to do that, so I pick and choose those titles. But plenty of unboxing videos. But anyways, thank you again for watching. Check out Kings Langley Press, and we'll see you around next time.